So we have had some fun games this season, but this was by far the most fun. This to me was more entertaining than shutting out Kansas State or blowing out Texas Tech or blowing out Iowa State and Kansas. Games like this are the most fun in football. Except whenever your team loses, then it's not so much fun. So I'm sorry, Baylor fans, that you're probably not having as much fun as I am right now. But we are now 9-1. And a few weeks ago, after the Texas game, I said we were going to lose at least a few more games this season. I had us losing to TCU and Baylor. That was my two other losses on the season. I said we would finish 9-3, best case scenario. But that was before we really started clicking on offense. And now, even if Trevon Boykin comes back and he's completely healthy next week, I think we can beat TCU. Our defense is good. Their defense is not that good. And obviously, it showed today what happens whenever we play a mediocre defense. And granted, yes, they did make some plays, but our offense was too much for them today. So I think we beat TCU next week. But then after that, we have Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma State looks like a pretty solid football team right now. I'll admit, at the beginning of the season, I was thinking, oh, this team isn't that good. And I know they just beat Iowa State by 4, but they still look like a pretty decent team. I don't think their defense is as good as ours, so I think we can win that game, but it's going to be big. That game, I'm calling it right now, especially if we beat TCU next week and Oklahoma State beats Baylor, game day will be back in Stillwater, and we'll have another game day game because that game will be for the Big 12 championship and most likely for a playoff spot. And I don't know about you guys, but I would love to be the first team from the Big 12 to go to the playoffs. And even if we don't win at all, we can always say we were the first team from the Big 12 to make it to the playoffs. And that would just be something really cool to have. But some of the things from today's game that I want to talk about is last week I said we need to start putting Baker Mayfield on Heisman talks. And I think today he kind of showed everyone else that he needs to as well. 24 of 34, 270 yards, 3 TDs, and a pick, but he also had 15 carries for 76 yards and a touchdown. He had 4 TDs and 1 turnover. That's still a pretty good day, and I know that's like his 5th turnover on the season, but let's go ahead and compare that. He didn't play a full game today, but let me try to find the TCU game real quick so I can go to Trevon Boykin's stat page, and we can see how many picks he has on the year, because I'm sure it's more than 5. Actually going to guarantee it's more than 5. This season, he has 9 interceptions. And he's in the Heisman talks, so why shouldn't Baker be? He's got now, what did he have last week? 33 total TDs, so now he's got 37 total TDs and 5 turnovers on the season. And he's probably the most explosive player on our offense. He can just it seems like he can make a play that is completely broken down, like that touchdown pass to Flowers today. That play broke down almost immediately, but he was able to scramble around for so long, and then finally Flowers got open and he just heaved it to the end zone. Pretty much the same thing I think he did against Tennessee on his touchdown pass to Samaje Perine. He just made a play and then found someone open in the end zone. So that's why I think Baker should be included in Heisman talks. I don't even know if he's on the Heisman watch page. I'm not going to go check it right now, but he probably should be because he's having a terrific season. I saw a thing where they compared Jason White, Sam Bradford, and Baker Mayfield, 2 quarterbacks that have won the Heisman and one that should be included in talks for it through the first 10 games, and they've all been very, very similar. Now let's just talk about the defense for a second. The defense tonight played amazing. I don't care how people like to look at Baylor's schedule. How Baylor was playing through most of this season, they were a legit offense. And had they had Seth Russell, they could have beaten us, I think. I think we definitely rattled that true freshman quarterback, which is what I was hoping our defense could do. I was happy to have Zach Sanchez back because I don't know if Dakota Austin could have covered Corey Coleman. Sanchez even got a pick, which was nice. Ahmad Thomas got an interception. I think it's the only 2 interceptions of the night. The defense just made big plays whenever we needed them to. But the last thing I want to talk about is the penalties. We had so many that killed us in that first half. We had a few in the second half, but I don't think near as many as we did in the first. I think probably the biggest one, I think this one did come in the second half, though, where they were on 3rd and goal, and we were able to sack the quarterback, but they were blowing the whistle to stop, and Dominic Alexander brought him to the ground anyway, and they called a 15-yard penalty, or I guess it wasn't technically a 15-yard penalty, it was half the distance to the goal, and they got a new set of downs and scored a touchdown rather than having to kick a field goal. I thought that was going to come back to haunt us, but I mean, obviously, it turned out pretty well. But anyway, I am super excited for next week. Oklahoma TCU. Obviously, the Weave, who is my best friend in real life, is a big TCU fan. I'm a big OU fan, so that's always fun. Last season, it was a good game. I think final score 37-33. And, that was the Trevor Knight Call Me with Katy Perry. Yeah, it was just a mess last year. We lost. And then I was stupid and kept playoff hopes, and then Baylor killed us. But we got by Baylor. We got through one game. Now we got to take down TCU, then we got to take down Oklahoma State, and then we have a shot to get to the college football playoffs, which would be awesome. But anyway, let me know what you guys thought of the game today down in the comments. If there's anything that I missed that you want to discuss with me down in the comments, go ahead and comment that. But anyway, I will hopefully talk to you guys next week.